Okay guys, we've got a bunch of products here at First Man. We've got our men's lifestyle supplement, which is everything that a man needs on a daily basis. We've got our natural diuretic supplement, Defined, which allows you to get an angular face, removes all the water, especially good for summer. We've got our Male Advantage book, which is a paperback. You can order this, or you can get this in audiobook format or ebook format. We've got our Better Looking Man course, which I'll bring up pictures on screen now. And we've got my personal diet plan and fitness plan in ebook format. On top of this, guys, we've got a body wash coming out soon, part of the testosterone friendly range. We've got men's boxers and a whole clothing line coming out soon. A whole bunch of products, but for now, let's get back to the video that you actually wanted to watch. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. So you guys have been absolutely loving the list videos that I've been doing, the testosterone tier list. Funniest thing actually, I was on a phone call earlier and I just had YouTube open. I was just hovering over Hamza live and then my testosterone video came up and the person was like, "Are you still there?" I was like, "Yeah, I've just seen myself." They're like, "What?" I was like, "Hang on, let me just," I was like, "I don't know what's going on." No, it was all good. It's all positivity. But yeah, it was funny to see my own face pop up. I was like, what the hell's going on here? But you guys seem to be loving the videos. It's got the testosterone one got so many views. So I thought let's do a little combination. I thought let's have a look. So 30 things men should know before turning 30. I started off with 10, then 20, then 30. I could have done 100, but I thought 30 for 30. Sounds pretty good actually. It's like the documentaries that they did. So we might as well kick this off straight away, guys, because this is going to be a long video. It's going to be, it's going to be at least an hour by the time I get through all of these. Just quick update with the stream platform underway, being built. Everything's going great. We've got a documentary. It's going to be easy to film. I think we're going to have it ready in within September. So that's going to be good. And all the products coming out, plus the body language course, end of September, guys. So that's a quick update from me. But number one, before turning 30, men should know that nothing gets solved by complaining. Now, it sounds very obvious, but it's easy to moan, isn't it, guys? It's very, very easy to moan. I used to do it a lot when I was a kid. If a teen or somebody in their early 20s, if something went wrong, I would complain for ages. I would just, I'd be pissing and moaning about how this isn't, going my way and how life's unfair and nothing ever works for me. And because I feel like because I did that, nothing ever worked for me. And it was funny because I was talking to Jack, the CEO of Testosterone, and we both said, we were just talking one night when we did the project at the apartment, and we were saying when we both decided that we would be positive in the bad times, things started to go well. It was really weird. Like things were going badly and we'd go, but it's okay, I'm in a privileged position, this is great, things will all figure out in the future. And then things just got really, really good. So, like I said, nothing gets solved by complaining. There's nothing that you can, if something's already gone wrong, what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and you're going to cuss it out and say how bad it is. It's just it just adds fuel to the fire. There's no way it can possibly get better if you sit there, look at it and complain at the problem. You might as well get on with your life. Try and, if you can fix it somehow, great. If you can't, there's nothing you can do to change it. So you might as well just get on and try and do something productive. The second thing men should know before turning 30 is self-accountability. I feel like this is a massive one, and it connects to number one, but it's slightly different, where something does go wrong and the first instinct is, but it's not my fault. You hear that with kids all the time. As a man, it should be, okay, I'll take the blame for that. Okay, this is something that I have to solve. Okay, this is my problem. Just the other day, I got on the wrong train. To be honest, I don't actually think it was my fault, but I did get on the wrong train. I called somebody and they're like, "Do you want me to come pick you up?" And I was like, "Do you know what?" I was like, "I've put myself in this situation. I'll get myself out of it." I was like, "It is what it is." So I had to pay £150 for a taxi back to my front door. Wildly annoying because I'd already paid for the train and I was on the train, the correct train before I had to change. But that's what you got to do as a man. It's like, no, you shouldn't have to put yourself out. I'll take self-accountability for my mistake and I will solve this. So that's what I'm talking about there, guys. There's little situations like that. If you can take self-accountability, it's such a big step as a man. Now that I'm going to start motoring through these because there is a lot. It's going to be like a 2-hour video. Now, number 3 is routine is the foundation of everything. If you're not getting up at the same time every single day, if you're not going to the gym, eating basically the same foods pretty much every single day, if you don't have the same daily routine, for me, it's wake up at the same time, eat the same foods, roughly, go to the gym at the same time so that I can be back at my desk for 9 a.m., ready to work, fully washed, dressed, everything, ready to get into it and, get the day started. If you don't have routine in your life, no matter what you do, if you're an athlete, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just a dad, okay, you need, I don't say like just a dad, but you get what I mean, guys. If you've got any of those job roles, you just need a routine. It just makes life so much easier. If you can just wake up, rinse and repeat, it changes the game. Like, there's a lot of billionaires that wear the same clothes every day, and there's a reason for that. Number 4 is your appearance matters to the world. So when you're young, it's fuck everybody. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'll dress how I want to dress. As you get older, you start to realize, okay, dressing in a professional manner really, really helps. Okay? Like, it just gives you better opportunities in life. People take you more seriously. They let you get away with a lot more if you just look a certain way. And just Tom Ford always says, one of my favorite quotes, but I always butcher it first time, so I'll try my best not to. And I won't edit it. He says something along the lines of, making the best of yourself is a show of respect to yourself and those around you, or something along those lines. It's like making the best of yourself and looking your best, or something like that. And I completely agree. I think stuff like skincare routine, I think regular, I mean, I can't speak right now because it's gone quite long. I'll probably get it done tomorrow, but regular like beard trims, haircuts, that sort of thing, nice clothes, always having them ironed and washed. It makes the world a difference, guys. It's like people come into your house and it's clean. And that's a massive difference maker. A lot of people don't mind. Somebody comes to their house and it looks like fucking pig shit and they don't give a shit. I think that's just, no, that's low level. That's some teenager shit. The next one is masculinity is essential to the world. Don't let anybody ever tell you that, toxic masculinity. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you shouldn't have passion, that male aggression to drive you forward in life. Don't let anybody tell you that, you shouldn't chase women. You should be ashamed that this is why you're trying to get rich and stuff like that. Fuck all that, guys. Masculinity is not only needed, it's essential. Without masculinity, the world fails. So it's one thing before turning 30 that you need to get into your head. That masculinity is good. Displaying it is fucking great. And the world needs it. Without masculinity, the world fails. Next up is number 6, and it's your ability to provide defines you. So as a man, it's always discussed, if you're not successful by this age or that age or whatever, don't worry too much. That's fair enough, but one thing that's always kind of put out there is it doesn't matter how much money you earn, as long as you're a good guy with a great personality and all this stuff. Yeah, to some extent, okay, because if you don't have the personality and all the other stuff, but you're just wealthy, then you're a bit of a knob. But most people I know have somewhat of a personality. They have, a life off the back of that and stuff like that. So it's not really a problem. But your ability to provide pretty much defines you as a man. You don't have to be super rich, but you just have to be able to take care of others. If you can't take care of your woman, your child, your family, as in like mum and stuff like that, guys, like, you need to sort that out, because as a man, everybody depends on you. It's a massive, massive trait. You will feel better. The world around you will respect you. You'll get more women than you've ever wanted in your life, okay? Like, that ability to provide makes you a man. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Number 7 is stop seeking assistance. You're no longer a child. Like, everybody got to a certain age, okay? I remember I used to do lifts. Like, I used to pick people up for this care company. And I used to park outside of school and wait for this woman. She'd get in the car, we'd drive home. Now, I used to pick her up around about 3 p.m. and I used to drop her off in the morning again for the shift at like 8 a.m. in the morning. I forgot that was kind of like school hours. I wasn't really thinking. I got a knock at the door from the police officer. Thought I was doing some dodgy shit, as you guys can imagine. Well, actually, he said to me, he was like, no, I was just worried that like it was, she won't let me see the kids. Oh no, like it's all like all of that sort of stuff. And I was like, no, I'm just doing lifts for somebody, explained it all, and it all got smoothed over. But I realized there and then, I was like, oh shit, I'm at like creepy man age. I'm older now. I was like, I'm at potential paedophile age. Right, and it really hit home. As funny as it sounds, well, it's not funny, but it was quite scary for myself at the time. But then again, it is a witch hunt for witches, and I wasn't a witch. I wasn't a paedophile, is what I'm saying. And it just made me realize I was like, I'm a grown man now with a beard. Like I can't just fucking like. And at the time I was thinking, oh, I'm some like young kids, and my mum can take care of that, my dad can take care of that. Like, and it just kind of hit me. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm an adult, and I think I might have been like 20 years old. And there's certain moments in your life where instead of going, yeah, but I'm only young, when people use that excuse. Multiple times I had that in my 20s, and now I got to a certain point where I was just like, no, that's not acceptable anymore. Like, I am a grown man. I need to handle my own shit. Like, if I'm not going to do it, nobody is. And and even if they do handle it for you, come on, guys. Like, you can't just reach out to your mum and dad and be like, hey, I'm £200 down. Like, go and do another shift. Go and do another job. Go and sort shit yourself, okay? Because if you're seeking assistance in your, late teens, 20s, whatever, it doesn't do you any good. It just fucks you up, okay? It just keeps you in that child mindset. You need to go, okay, I'm a man now. None of these like excuses, like, oh, can you help me out? Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm only 22 years old. Like, just stop. You're a grown fucking man. Men were 16 years old going to war, so there's just no excuse at all. The next one is number 8, and it's appreciate how young 30 is. Now, I know that because I always said to you guys, male advantage, 30 years old. And mentally, I've suffered in the last month or so. I might make a video on this soon. It's nothing bad. I'm 30 years old now. Like, I can do it quite easily. Like, I can handle all this shit. I know what's coming. But I kind of sat there and I was like, oh, this isn't it. Like, I just thought I'd turn 30 and it was like, okay, everything I ever wanted in place. Which it somewhat was. But then I was like, okay, I'm way more ambitious. Like, you guys know I'm doing the streaming platform and stuff. And it was quite funny because I'm making really good money, and I looked at it and I was like, I'm going to have to put another like 250, 300,000 back into this business now. And it made me realize, I was like, fuck, 30's so young. Because why would I be doing that? If I was going to die in like 5 years' time, I'd be like, hey, enjoy your money, retire, just kick your feet up. But knowing that I've probably got like another 60 years on this planet, if not more, with modern technology, probably more, I just thought to myself, and also, like I said to you guys before, everything prior to 18 is just pre-season, is practice. Like, everything prior to that, you don't really... basically, I say I'm 12 years old because from 18 to 30 is 12 years. Before that, I couldn't really do anything. There's a lot of years I didn't remember. My parents were clothing me, feeding me. So I'm like, okay, that doesn't really count. So that's 60 real years where it's my life. I get to control it. So that's a lot of time. So me making that investment of 250 to 300,000 and trying to do the next thing, like jump up again, it just goes to show that like my whole life is ahead of me, and I'm basically 2 weeks into my actual real life now. So that really hit home, and I was like, shit, I am so young, like 30 is so young. So for you guys, it's like that puts you in a great position where, you have this ability to just kind of really plan for the long term up to 30, and then once you get to 30 to plan even longer. So I had an 8-year plan to get to 30 and create the stream platform. I'm now creating it. And there's an 8-year plan to build it and get to the point where we're hosting live sports. Contracts with the UFC, big boxing fights, pay-per-view and stuff like that on the platform. So like I'll get to 38 and be like, fuck, I'm so young. I've got my whole life ahead of me. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you really need to appreciate how young 30 actually is, guys. The next one is the male advantage is real. Now, I said it when I was young, and it was a little bit of... There was a lot of research that went into it, and I could see the results, but it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek because it's like I'm not there yet. But now that I'm here, it's like, yeah, this is fucking real, okay? Because the female attention, the female options is, the highest I've ever had in my life, which is very fun. It's very nice. The money, the best I've ever had. My life setup, the shape I'm in, the ability to be able to make things happen. The respect I get from people, and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, the male advantage is real. That's confirmation. And that's not to sell a book or whatever I'm trying to sell to you guys. I'm there now. Like, I think you can see my life is better now. So, I think, in my opinion, it's really real. The next one, number 10. Fuck, we're only at 10. Every negative is a positive in disguise. This is one of the hardest things to get your head around, okay, guys? And it's very difficult when you're young. So when something goes wrong, it's easy to sit there and panic and be like, I'm really struggling here. Like, this isn't good. This has ruined my life. This has ended everything. Oh, this is going to change the game negatively. If you actually, the amount of times I've had in my life where things have gone terribly wrong, I've complained, I've sat there, I've been worried. And then 3-4 months later, I'm like, I'm so glad that thing happened. Otherwise, I never would have been led to the point I've got now. It's like my business getting wiped out. My business got wiped out. I started it again, changed the name from MSI College to First Man, did it a different way on YouTube, created products, created more of a brand than just like some online social thing. And look where we are today. So, do you know what I mean, guys? Like when something goes wrong, you got to sit there and go, okay, this is a positive. This is good because it's forced us to make this change. And if this didn't happen, we would have sat there and we would have been comfortable for the last year or so. But because that went wrong, we were forced to do this and this, which led to us getting to this point. Oh, and now we're wildly successful. So in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to us. How often do you hear that? Okay, so when the next time something goes wrong, I want you guys to sit there and be like, instead of reacting negatively to it, point one, I want you to go, okay, this could be a positive. This could be the best thing. How do we spin this into a positive? Because, like I said, usually when things go wrong, it's secretly the best thing that ever happened to you. You just can't see it at the time. So number 11, you control your mood. So an example of this, I woke up the other day and I said to somebody, I was like, oh, I've got to pay for that streaming platform. And then I stopped and it was quite a negative because it was like, oh, it's like so much money that's going out. And I was like, no, I've got to build it. And then I thought to myself, no, do you know what? Fuck that. I was like, I get to pay for the stream platform. I get to build this stream platform. What an opportunity in my life. It's been my lifelong goal and I get to do it. Fuck the money that's being spent on it. It's been my lifelong goal. It's something I've wanted to do ever since I was like in my early 20s. I'm in a very privileged position. I'm blessed. I live in a country where you're able to do that. I'm in a position where I've got the money to be able to fund it. How many people can ever say that they own their own stream platform like Netflix? So that's how you can control your own moods. You can look at things however you want. That's one thing I've learned coming up to 30 is like something that you could be having a bad day and you could be really negative, but someone else could have the same situation and be feeling great about it. You know, like, oh, I've got to do a speech today. And somebody else could be like, hey, I've got to do a speech today. It's fantastic. It's going to further my career if I nail this. You see what I mean? It's up to you. It's literally up to you. The next one is self-control creates maturity. Now, I'm talking about not eating junk food. I'm talking about porn and masturbation. I'm talking about all that stuff where like, oh, I'm going to go out tonight and get drunk. As you get older, you need to put a pin in that. You need to control all this stuff. And like I said, self-control creates maturity. What you will find is when you get on top of these sort of things and you say, I'm desperate to have sex. I'm so fucking horny, but I'm going to go to the gym and go for a walk. I'm going to channel that energy into something productive. What you will find is your mind matures and you will just become a grown man who's able to handle any situation. It's a game changer, guys. It happened to me. Instead of being a victim of my urges and things like that, and FOMO and other things, I was then like, okay, I'm in control. I can decide. And it just matured me. It changed my brain. So when I was meeting beautiful women and I was like, yeah, she's really hot, but I was like, I know I can, I've got self-discipline. I can handle this. Let me get to know her as a person and just be blind to the beauty. It's just little things like that. And I think people notice it when they're around you. They're like, this guy thinks differently. He's not like everybody else. Next up is clear your head. Nobody really cares. So you've got to get to a certain point in your life, guys, okay? A certain age where you just go, all the bullshit that happened to me in the past, clear it out. Clear my head. Start fresh. No, but like I said, nobody really cares. Who's going to worry about, like, oh, at school you were a nerd? Like, just clear your head at some point and start fresh. You know, you're walking down the street and you've got certain hang-ups, like, oh, everyone used to laugh at me because... Just clear your head. It's a new start. Like, life is different in adulthood. You just got to get to a certain point where you're like, everything that I used to know is gone. Just wipe it out completely. Just wipe the database and be like, what's my new thought pattern? What are my new biases? What are my new, kind of affirmations that I tell myself every day? And that's the point I've got to in my life where I'm just like, anything that I thought as a kid is gone. It's like, oh, that woman's probably going to reject me. Now I walk up and I'm like, she's going to love this. Like, she's probably been waiting for somebody like me to come up all day long or all month long. That's how my brain works now, and it's really, really nice. Next up is women are just as scared as you are. Now, it might not be in the same way, okay? If there's a beautiful woman and you go up and you go to approach her and you're a little bit timid, she might not be because she gets that all the time, okay? But what you will find is that women have insecurities about, will anybody ever love me for me? Will I be alone forever? Yeah, I've got options, but will I be able to find somebody who actually likes me? They've got their own problems. Do people just want to fuck me and then not have a relationship? They've got all their own little insecurities and problems, and I don't look good, and oh, if I don't look good, I'm going to go home and change and all that sort of stuff. Like, they've got their own stuff, okay? So they're just as scared as you. That's something I learned around about into like 26, 27 years old when I started dating beautiful women. And I was like, okay. They're like, once you peel back the layers, they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like that, I'm scared of that. Can you do it? And you go, huh? Like, I thought you were fucking invincible. Like, you were scary as fuck to me a year ago, but now it's like, no, you're a normal human being. You just got the genetic lottery. You just look really good. It's like, but appearances can be deceiving. So that's a little message for you guys. Number 15, halfway through, you don't know much. I'm learning this every year and it sucks. Every year I'm like, I know fucking everything. And then by the end of that year, I'm like, I know nothing. I have to start fresh. Now I've got better, over time, and you do know a little bit more and you become more accomplished, but you just don't know a lot. Like every single year, I'm like, God, I didn't know that. Oh, I've changed massively. I've always said, if you're the same man a decade later than you were a decade before, that's a problem. And now I think if you're the same man a year later, that's a problem. I look back, I get memories on my phone this time a year ago, and I'm like, I'm not even the same human being anymore. I'm a different monster completely in every area. I'm like, I think differently. I wouldn't say that now. Like a lot of the TikTok clips that went viral, I'm like, I wouldn't say that now. I might have the same thought, I just wouldn't articulate it in the same way. And, like I said, you don't know much. It's just never get too cocky, never get too arrogant, never sit there with a massive ego being like, yeah, but I know, because that's like 16-year-olds do that, okay? Just sit there humbly, stay quiet, take all the information in. You just don't know. You just don't know. I see billionaires say stuff out of context sometimes and they fuck up and everyone's laughing at them like, how did you not know that? Just watch out, okay, guys? Next up, into the final 15 now, is there's levels to the world. And I'm talking about the other side of male life. So I thought I was doing really well, Range Rover penthouse, in great shape and whatnot. And then I just kind of this year I was like, let's kick it on again. And I've like improved my ambitions. I'm like seeking more stuff. I'm chasing after more things. Like I'm looking at bigger and better assets and new plans with the business. And the extra, like I thought pumping 20 grand into the business before was crazy. Now it's like 200,000-300,000. And then soon it'll be like 20, 30 million. There's levels to the world, okay? Like every time you think you've hit the peak and you're doing well, try and find the next one. Try and find the next one. It keeps you motivated. It really keeps you motivated. It keeps you humble. There's just so much of the world out there. Like you will peel back the layers one by one until you reach the top. It's so hard to reach the top that you probably, most people never will. So there's levels to the world. Never think you're on top, guys, because you're not even close. Like I'm barely scratching the surface from what I'm finding out now. Some of the shit that's out there is mind-blowing to me. Next up is, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. One of my favorite quotes ever. And basically it means, it's an old African proverb, and it means that like if you're not poisoned in here, if you're not thinking negatively in here, then nobody can do anything to you. So this goes for like online hate, what other people say about you, all this other stuff. You've got to be solid. You've got to be solid as a rock. No matter what your plans are, no matter what you're trying to achieve, no matter what you say that you can accomplish in the future, and people are like, you ain't going to do that because it's just got to be no enemy in here, then the enemy outside can do us no harm. As long as this is absolutely solid as a rock, guys, what's going to happen? Nobody's going to be able to touch you, okay? So as long as, this goes for taking risks in life too. Let's say you want to go to the gym and film yourself. Oh yeah, but what will other people think? But if you're in here, if you're thinking, yeah, but this is great because this is going to further my bit, it matters nothing to what everybody else is thinking. That's a massive tip. That's huge. If there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. I love that quote. Next up is, patience is a male superpower. I've said this to you guys before. Now this goes for maybe, for example, going like 2, 3, 4 years without women. And then eventually like getting the beautiful women and being like, hey, I waited, I put the work in, I got what I wanted. This goes for the male advantage, knowing that we peak like 12 years later than women. Maybe 14 when you really think about it. And little things like that. As a man, patience is a superpower. If you can sit it out longest, if you can avoid cashing in on that new watch and that new car and all this shit and all these new clothes. Like, I saw a jacket the other day for £1,000. I loved it. And I was like, God, I really want to buy it. And I was like, no, you don't need it. I was like, you just keep investing in this streaming platform. Keep doing what you're doing. I was like, yeah, only £1,000. It's so expensive for a jacket. But I was like, you don't need it right now. It's just stupid. I'm still at that level now where I'm deploying patience. Now I can afford it quite comfortably, but I was like, patience, like just keep sticking in there. Like all of that can come in the future. And the thing is, I'm at a point in my life now where my patience can be shorter. Now it might be 6 months to a year where you go, okay, we just earned like 400,000 or 500,000. You can go and get that jacket. Do you know what I mean? But in the early days, I waited years and years and years. There's the Bodeskin leather jacket that you guys like. I waited 6 years to buy that. 6 fucking years, guys. So patience is a male superpower. It doesn't matter what it's for. If it's waiting to have sex with a woman, waiting for your business to take off, waiting to, you shouldn't just sit around waiting. That's not what I'm saying. You should put the work in the meantime, but be willing, like get your mind right. Be like, look, I'm going to put the work in every single day and push this forward, but I'm willing to say that this might take 10 years. And if it does, it does. And that's what I did. I worked as hard as I could every day and stayed patient and just said, look, I know what's coming. This is going to figure out. Next up is build, don't brag. Okay, so what I mean by build, don't brag is 2 different things. So, when I first started making good money, I was telling people. I was telling women on dates and stuff like that. Now I keep it to myself and I just let my lifestyle do it for me. It works 100 times better. That's why guys wear a watch. What's the time? You tell it on your phone. But that's why guys wear an expensive watch so that they can let their life do the talking for them, okay? It's a little bit of framing. Like that's a lesson that I've learned in the last few years, but also as a secondary to that, substance makes you happiest. And what I mean by build, don't brag is if you did make like $1 million and you went and bought a Lamborghini and you were driving around and you were trying to show off, it's great for a short amount of time. And you're going to get the women, the attention and whatever. It's great for a short amount of time. Then it's going to wear off and you're going to be unhappy. I spoke about that out on that patio with that blue lighting that I had. The best thing you can do is, let's say if you put that $1 million into a business or a new idea or invested it into a project, that makes you 10 times happier than the assets, than the flashy shit. I promise you guys. Like having an actual purpose, £1 million purpose that you've invested in. That is where the true happiness comes from. I'm telling you guys, this penthouse, the cars, whatever, they all get old quickly. Sleeping with different women, it does get old quite quickly. Having stuff like a solid long-term relationship or a business that's got a 20-year plan that you're going to work towards, that stuff, when I said build, don't brag, that's what I mean. When you invest your money in things for the future, it's way better than investing it in like a Lamborghini or some shit. It's not bad to have those things, but I'm just saying one makes you way happier. I think it's when you're part of something. Next up, number 20, is nothing is as bad as it seems at the time. I got this from my dad. So when you're panicking and you're like, this is awful and whatever, you fast forward 5 years, you look back at what used to be a problem and you're like, why was I ever worried about that? That was so easy to get over. And like older me now would have accomplished, would have got past that in days. So anything that happens to me now, when I'm like, oh God, it's gone wrong, I sit there and I think of my dad. And he used to break it down. He used to be like, is it as bad as it seems though? Are you worried about something that hasn't happened yet? And I was like, well, yeah, kind of. He was like, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. He was like, here's what we'll do. But in the meantime, there's no point fucking stressing and worrying about it. I learned that lesson from my dad. So that's a lesson passed on to you guys. It's quite nice, actually. Somebody from a previous generation passing it to me and then me passing it to you. There's something quite poetic about that. The next one is don't be afraid of what motivates you. I used to get blasted for this. I used to say stuff when I was younger, okay? So like, guys, now, I'm saying like, would I like a Lamborghini McLaren, something like that? Would I like a bigger penthouse? Yeah, like I look at all this stuff and it does motivate me. But I'm less motivated. The penthouse definitely, because it's more of a base, but I'm less motivated by like a Lamborghini or something like that now than when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, that motivated me to get to where I am now. So never be afraid, okay? If what motivates you is sex, I want to fuck beautiful women, that's so shallow and materialistic. Hey, look, if it gets you to where you need to get, use it. Because as you mature, you'll go, oh, that doesn't really motivate me anymore. But guess what? You'll have the money in the bank account. You'll have the accomplishments. So never be afraid of what motivates you. Don't be ashamed when people put you down, oh, it's materialistic, that won't keep you happy. Well, you're older than me. You've already realized that. But if it gets me from 0 to 1, then I'm going to use it. And you guys should too. So don't let anybody tell you, oh, the pursuit of pussy is hollow. Or, oh, I just want to get rich so that I can have all the women and the cars and the watches. Oh, that's fucking stupid. If it gets you there, it gets you there. Once you get there, you'll realize that yourself, but you've still got the fucking money. Do you see what I mean? Next up is taking risks is the only way forward. It's the only way. You're seeing that with me in my life, but you're seeing that especially now with the stream platform. Putting like 250, 300,000 into the stream platform, and then likely another 500,000 throughout the next year or so into the stream platform. It's a risk. It's a massive risk. If it doesn't pay off, it's like $1 million. Okay, I could have bought a house in London with that. You know, you could get, I don't want to do this, but you could get like married, have a house in London, settle down, have a couple kids. Like, it's what most people would base their entire lives on. I'm taking a massive risk. I said to a guy in a taxi the other day, I went through 3 steps that you have to be successful. I think I said something like, you have to have a good idea to begin with. Number 2, you have to work relentlessly. But number 3, and probably the most important thing, once the money starts coming in, you've got to have the biggest pair of bollocks in the room. And if you can have the biggest pair of bollocks and take the most risks, not unnecessary risks, but you know, you can put a good 100, couple thousand on the table and go, fuck it, let's see what happens. It'll pay off. You know, it's not a guarantee, but you got more chance of that paying off than somebody else who's just sat there going, oh no, that's dangerous. Oh, that's dangerous. Like I could have gone and bought a house and a Lamborghini now and whatever. I've put that money into a streaming platform and new products. Might pay off, might not, but I'd rather have that than be driving around pretending I'm doing great when, you know, those assets, when I've got nothing in the bank, but I've got these fucking flashy assets. Because I don't like the people that do that, okay? Next up, number 23 is don't seek pleasure in times of discomfort. So an early stage of this is, oh, I've had a bad day, I'm going to go and masturbate, I'm going to go and watch porn, that makes me feel good. All you young guys know about that, because I used to do it. Now the other thing is like, oh, I've had a bad day, I'm going to go and eat some junk food. You know, we all do this sort of thing. You've got to man up. You've got to man up and sit there and say, I've had a bad day, things have gone wrong, I don't like how that felt, that woman just rejected me, I'm going to take it on the chin, I'm going to move forward. It doesn't feel good. I'm not going to lie to you guys, it never gets better. But it's like, okay, it doesn't feel good, but I can't really react negatively to this. If I do and I become destructive, it's only going to impact my life negatively. I'm only like, she rejected me, so I'm going to watch porn and eat junk food. And then tomorrow I'm going to be a worse version than I was yesterday. No, fuck that. She rejected me. Hey, do you know what? I'm going to go to the gym tonight. I'm going to keep improving because I know in 2-3 years' time, I'm going to be the man that she actually wants. But by that time, I probably won't want her. That was kind of like my mindset. Is it a little bit bitter? Yeah, but it got me to where I wanted to get, and then I was able to mature. But, you know, don't seek pleasure in times of discomfort. I'm telling you, it's not great. Now, maybe watching like a movie, meditating, listening to some music, maybe going out with friends, not drinking. Yeah, that's okay if you just need a little break and whatever. But I'm talking like, you know, things have gone wrong and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go and gamble £1,000. Like, do you know what I mean? Those guys that try and get really destructive. Number 24, very simple, learn body language. I'm telling you guys, it works so well in my fucking life. I'm not saying that because the course is coming out soon, but yeah, learn body language. Even though the course is coming out, that's not what I'm hinting to. Like, it's so powerful. Just learn it, okay? It's massively powerful. It's benefited my life 1,000,001 ways. I just feel great when I'm doing it. Number 25, do the right thing even if it hurts you. This is a tough one. It's a tough one to take. It's a tough one to do. But I'm at a point in my life now, and I've done this for a few years, where I will say something or do something even if it negatively impacts me. You know, I will be honest about it and be like, yeah, look, let me be honest. Yeah, this happened and that happened. Yeah, I did sleep with her, but, you know, we weren't together at the time. I could have lied. There's no reason for me to say that. And the woman's like, oh, that really fucking annoys me. But then she knows she can trust you. Do you know what I mean, guys? And I just think long term, like when you do the right thing, even if it hurts you, it's like the other day I had Alicia come on the podcast, which will come out very soon. It's a great podcast. What a fantastic woman she is. Super intelligent. Be respectful in the comments, guys, because, you know, she's a personal friend of mine now. And I don't want to brag, but this is the point of the video. But her friend drove down and I was like, here's £50 because there's fuel money. And I was like, you've helped my business. Now, I didn't have to do that. She wasn't expecting it. I did it because it's the right thing to do. Now, it looks like I've said it here to brag on this video. I don't like doing that shit. It's like when people hand money to homeless people. I hate that shit on videos. But it proves my point. So, you know, I hope you guys can understand why I've said that there. And she didn't want the money. She was turning it down. But I was like, no, look, you've helped my business. It is the right thing to do. Even though it's hurting me because it's £50 out of my pocket and I didn't need to and you didn't expect it. I was like, it's the right thing to do. And that's what I want you guys to do. Be real men. Now, the next point is, it's another quote, I would rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war. Okay, and it's one of my favorite quotes ever, where we live in a world now which is quite soft, and it's quite every day we're not fighting. You're not going out into the street and fighting and headbutting people and marauding your way through the street. But I think it's very good to be prepared and ready to do that. Anytime you want, you're a tough guy, you're strong, you can box, you can fight, you can wrestle, you've got some testosterone and some aggression underneath. Now, it might not be a physical fight. It might be a fight for, hey, this person's competing with me business-wise. I need to dig my fucking heels in and go for this. And that's what I mean by it's better to be like a well-behaved warrior, living a nice, quiet, calm life you can kick off anytime you want. I think it's very good to have that as a man, but not to have to need it. Okay, but it's good to have it as a backup, rather than being a guy that's like, hey, but we never need it, and then things happen, and they're like, oh, fuck, they're not prepared. So I think it's very good to have that. Next up, we come to the end now, 4 left, is longevity versus pushing when you need a break. So I learned this when my dad died. So I really wanted to get back to work. And I was like, look, I can rush back to work and I can fuck up my mental health. I was like, I can do like a month or whatever, flat out, really hurt myself. And then in 6 months' time, I'm fucked and I'm going to see a counsellor and I'm all over the shop and whatever. I was like, or I can take like 2 weeks to a month off or so, or like be really relaxed. I was like playing a few computer games and stuff. I just wanted to do something completely different to what my normal daily routine was to take my mind away from it. I was playing some really stupid fucking computer games, but it was just what I needed at the time. It was ideal for taking my mind away from stuff. Those like strategy type of games. It was kind of fun though, but it got boring quick. Don't know how people do that daily. But I did that, and I was just relaxing. I was doing what was needed for the business. I wasn't pushing, because I figured, even though it'll be slow now, if in 6 months or a year, I'm back at full pelt, and then I'm working 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years into the future, and my mental health is clear, that's a better strategy. Tortoise and hare. You can burst, you can go for it, you can fuck yourself up. But then in a year's time, you might be like, I'm so tired, I've got fatigue, I don't want to be doing this. Sometimes it's better to go slower, but to still be in the race later down the line. Now, number 28 is always be honest. I just think it works, guys. When we were young, we'd lie to women, and like some of my friends would be like, yeah, I'm a professional footballer. Then he'd end up liking her, and that lie had to go on for months and years and what. It's tough to keep up, Yeah, I've got a real good paying job, and then you take her on a date, and you have to kind of like overspend and shit. It's not just with women, it's with everything. You lie to your boss, and then it comes full circle. Like, you're better off just telling the truth up front, because then you don't have that shit to worry about. Because all lies get found out in the end. Nobody's bulletproof. Nobody can keep thinking, okay, what did I say last week? And then it's just difficult. So, and it's good practice to always be honest and be like, yeah, that was me. I did do that. It's very similar to what I said earlier about doing the right thing even if it hurts you. Honesty is a factor in that. And people can trust you better as well. I don't want to be working with guys that don't tell me the truth. I don't want them as friends. I don't want them around me. I want people to be like, yeah, this is what happened. Or, look, mate, we were talking about you the other day. We said that was bang out of order what you did. Like, we all said it was terrible, but I wanted to tell you to your face, because that's manhood. That's what blokes do, okay? I really respect men that do that and say, look, mate, I've got to tell you the truth here, this, and that. I'm like, look, I fucking respect you. I don't like what you said, but look, I fucking respect you. So that goes a long way with me. I do the same with women too. I just tell them everything that they want to know. They ask me a question, I'll fucking tell you, right? I've got no shame. And then I find long term it really pays off, because they're like, well, I can trust this guy. He's never lied to me once. Number 29, do what you like to do without fear. Now, I'll give you an example. So I was walking down the road the other day, and it's really weird. I was going to the gym. There's a strip club. I was going past it in the morning, and there's a strip club / bar at night. In the day, people play Warhammer there. I mean, it's really weird. But I was walking past, I looked in the window, and there was this kid Saturday morning painting these Warhammer figures. He must have been like late 20s, early 30s. And I was kind of like, my first thought was, you fucking nerds on a Saturday morning, what's wrong with you? And then I stopped and I was like, it makes him happy. That's what he wants to be doing. Whether I think it's right or not, that's what he wants to be doing. And I expect people to have the same respect for me. If if I want to be doing what I'm doing with my life, if I'm happy going to if I want to go and watch a movie at the cinema, nobody else wants to go, and I go on my own, live without fear, go on your own. If I want to go and eat some food at a restaurant and nobody else wants to go, I'm going on my own. That's how I live now. And that's how you guys should live, and that's how you should respect others. As long as it makes somebody happy, as long as that's what they want to do, life's too short. Don't sit there and be like, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's kind of weird. If you like it, go and do it. I just don't see that being a problem. Now, the final point is selfish men win, but not forever. So I was very selfish in the early days, and being selfish got me to where I needed to get in life. It really pushed me forwards. I put all my time, effort, and money into myself. As I'm getting older, I'm still slightly doing it, but doing it less. But as I'm getting older, I'm appreciating spending more time with my mum, taking that phone call with my sister and asking how my little niece is, helping other people in my life, friends of mine, and being like, I will sacrifice an hour tomorrow to help you with that. As I get older, and it puts me in a better position, okay? But also, like the old quote, if you're on a plane and you try and put somebody else's mask on first and then you pass out, you're useless to that person. So the best thing you can do, put yours on first and then you can help others. So by being selfish in the early days, it actually allows you to then help others moving forward, because you've got the money, the time, the experience, the assets, whatnot. You can take care of other people. So that's what I'm saying. Be selfish. Be as selfish as you can. Selfish men succeed. They win in life. They get everything they ever want. Up to a certain point, because then it will just make you unhappy. Kind of Johnny Cash type of shit, where, Empire of Dirt, when he was singing about that and he felt awful. Do it to put yourself in a great position and then help others. That's where the fulfillment is. That's why we're doing it at the end of the day, to take care of everybody, including ourselves. So, yeah, selfish men win in life, but not forever. So that would be my final piece of advice, guys. I'm going to make a second video, which is, because this is 30 things guys should know before turning 30. My next video is going to be kind of, I don't know how many, but a bunch of things that guys should do before turning 30. So it's slightly different, okay? But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon.